Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today, this afternoon, Dominican Republic has released its numbers for May 2025, the tourist numbers, that is, and June 2025, both in the same month. I wonder what that could mean. You know what that means in my eyes. Let me know what you guys think, and welcome to the SSN Nation Dominican Republic tourism sector numbers. Stop struggling now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for being here. Please share the videos. We have a lot of investors that are part of the SSN Nation that invested in the Dominican Republic, started businesses in Dominican Republic. Some even live in Dominican Republic now. And those of you who invest, who have businesses, you may want to pay attention to tourist numbers year over year, month over month. See if there's a trend. Make sure things are going in a positive direction. Let's get to it. Here we go. We're at the Stop Struggling Now YouTube podcast channel page. So, as you know, please make sure you share the videos. And you can see some videos down below. That's so people know that we're here to help. Let's start with the numbers, shall we? Look at this headline. 6,145,008 January through June 30th, 2025. That is a great number, but hold on. Let's see what this number shows, and I'm going to tell you ahead of time. The number is going to tell you that is the number for airfare passengers into Dominican Republic and cruise passengers. Now, over the years, in case you guys don't know and you're new here, the cruise terminals have been added in the Dominican Republic over the last 5 years. If I'm not mistaken, it's been 3. So those 3 allow for an increase in cruise tickets. So let's go with the numbers. You can see them on the screen already. 6,145,008 visitors during the first 6 months of 2025. It's the highest tourism figure in history. This represents an increase of nearly 2 million visitors compared to the same period in 2019, which we don't care about, and over 185,000 more than last year. That's the number we care about because we need more tourism if you have any investment on the island. That helps everybody. And so therefore, that's why this is very, very important. I'm going to have a link down below in the description boxes so you guys can always pull up this article because I'm going to skip to the third paragraph. He highlighted that January through June total includes, this is the one we care about if we invest on the island and we're not near the cruise ships, 4.5 million air travelers. How does that stack up against last year? We're about to find out. And the historic 1.63 million cruise passengers. I expect that to continue. He reported a 48% increase over 2019. Again, they're repeating the same thing. And 3%. Let's talk about what I always talk about. If you're going to invest, don't you want to invest where there is a lot of tourists? Because if there's tourists or business people, you want to be in their path. You want people that spend money to come by your business, come and rent from you or buy from you or use your excursion or whatever you're selling or promoting. You want people to come. And it always helps, quite frankly, if the majority is from the United States and Canada, which is the case. You can see right here, 45% of the tourists came from the United States, 18% came from Canada. The next up was 6%. We're going to break this all down under tour analytics, and we'll get into it. The busiest airports were once again Punta Cana, Las Americanas, Cabo. Hotel occupancy during this period surpassed 77%. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. They're saying surpassed 77%, but how much did it surpass 77%? Is that a good number for hotel occupancy? I don't think so. So the number last year, which I still can't remember, was around 8.7, 8.5 to 8.7 million passengers by air. Let's go check out right now how far off we're from last year's numbers and this year's numbers. Here we go. Total visitor arrivals by air, 3,069,766 for everybody on the podcast, the iTunes, the iHeart, the Apple Podcast, and all the rest. Thank you so much for listening. That is only a 1% change. We're talking about only around a 40,000 persons more in 2025 by air. That's the one we who invest in businesses on the island and real estate, that's what we need. Punta Cana has 64% of the tourists that are coming in to Dominican Republic, not just Punta Cana, in Dominican Republic. If it's 43%, which I forgot to sensationalize, 45% United States, 18% Canada, that is that 63% of all the tourists are from United States and Canada that come to the Dominican Republic. That is significant, and I'm going to show you why in a second. So here's your total number, 4,513,874 by air in 2025. 2024, literally 0.9% less. We have a 0.9% more amount of people. Just so everybody knows, in 2024, air for the first 6 months, January 1st through June 30th, 4,475,096. Can you believe that? And this year, again, in 2025, halfway through, we're at 4,513,874. So we're on track for basically the same number. Basically the same number. Now, here's the other thing. The airports, they matter. Number one airport is Punta Cana. 63% of all people coming to Dominican Republic, 2.8 million land at the Punta Cana airport. The second airport is also on the eastern coast, but it's southeastern coast, Santo Domingo. 19.7%, 888,242. For the eastern part of the island, they get over because La Romana Airport is also on the eastern. That's 1.4 million. This is over 84% of all passengers land on the eastern side of the island of the country of Dominican Republic. Is that crazy or what? Where should you invest? You might want to take on one of the other locations around the island that's up and coming so you can get your foothold in. But as you can see, we have less passengers arriving at Santo Domingo, Puerto Plata, Cibao, La Isabela, and Cate and Samana. Less, it's a negative number year over year. This is not good. That's why we have the same numbers this year. Plus, we are not increasing the total tourism numbers, so we are stuck. And here we go again. You can see the numbers here. 1,469,358 USA citizens arrived. So once again, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you like what's happening with these numbers? Because once again, You always need more tourism numbers year over year. We have 125,000 Airbnbs. Another 10,000 is going to be added this year. Another 10,000 added next year. If we have the same tourism number, that means we're going to have more inventory that's not going to be rented. It's going to be sitting there, which means our occupancy rates are going to drop. And we're going to have more hotels this year in 2025 and 2026. So that also means if we don't get more people and things level off, all these units that's going to come on the market in the next 5 years is going to be overkill unless the tourism market or industry heats up again. It may not heat up in 2025. The numbers are bearing this out halfway through, but we need it to heat up in 2026 because that means at the end of 2026, that's another 20,000 Airbnbs and 10,000 hotel rooms. So we're going to be approaching 90,000 to 100,000 hotel rooms, and we're going to be approaching 135,000 Airbnbs. That is a lot of units available, 235,000 units potentially next year. So therefore, think about that being available every week. And if we're only going to have around 80% tourism numbers by air, that is not a good number. We need it to be around 85% or 90% would even be better. We can't have hotel occupancy rates 77% or better. By the way, it was 82%. That's what the hotel occupancy rate is for the first 6 months of this year. That is not a great number. That's not 90-some%. So everybody that owns an Airbnb, we need a high number for the hotels. So then people will appreciate the lower prices at the Airbnb locations. That would increase your occupancy. Everybody would win. So with all that said, once again, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for being here. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. So make sure you study, you put in your work, you make your investments, because you're going to need to make extra money over the years. And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.